Hey, what's up, my fearless networking friend? Todd Falcone here. Welcome back. Some things are worth repeating. And this particular subject matter, this particular stuff that I'm going to talk about, I would say is worth repeating over and over and over and over and over and over again, like a broken record, because it's one of the main things that people struggle with in this business. I mean, I would literally rate it in the top, probably the top, I don't know, maybe number one, but it's certainly in the top 2 or 3 biggest struggle points that people have in network marketing. So it's a hurdle we've got to get over, right? And the hurdle that I'm talking about is prospecting with confidence. Like being able to find yourself in this position where there's no prospect that's too big, or there's no prospect that's scary. You'll talk to anybody, anywhere, at any time, without hesitation. And you're never worried, you're never tripping out, you're never worried about how that person's going to judge you, or whether you're going to screw up or mess up, or what if they say yes, or what if they say no, or all the what ifs that go on. The question is, how do you go about developing prospecting confidence? That's the key message for the day. And I think I'm the perfect guy to have that conversation with you, because I have prospecting confidence, and because I started out with literally no prospecting confidence when I began this journey. Now, again, I've been on this journey for a long time, so you would expect somebody that's done this as long as I have to, improve over the years, right? Over 30, almost 35 years or so doing network marketing. But when I started, I had none. I was, and some of you guys have followed me for an extended period of time. I was a sweating, stuttery, nervous wreck, heart pounding, dry mouth, sweating on my brow, and afraid, deeply afraid of just, I don't know what I was afraid of looking back. Rejection, the fear of the unknown, fear of screwing up, fear of looking like an idiot. Fear of, I don't know. I mean, I probably had all sorts of fears going on. So it doesn't matter what your fear or fears are. I think it's important that you get clear with what that is. But regardless of what the fear is, and I'm not going to list all the fears, there's probably 6 or so fears that people probably struggle with when it comes to having that prospecting confidence. The key is, how do we go get confidence? That's the key. So I can give you, my perspective from a real world person, my own personal experience, as well as, having coached and worked with so many people over the years. And I'll give you a list of items that I think will help you have more confidence, but then it's up to you to do the things that are going to give you the confidence. I can sit here and provide you with this, and this. It's a little checklist of things. But then if you don't do anything with it, you're probably not going to gain the confidence that you most certainly need in order to be more successful in this business. And I do believe this is a confidence game. This is a game of confidence. We need to have confidence in the profession, confidence in our company, confidence in our leadership. And we most certainly need to develop confidence in ourselves and in terms of operating each and every day in this business. And you have to also understand that development of confidence is a work in progress. It is a process. It's not something you can snap your fingers. I wish there was a pill I could sell people and they got immediate confidence. I'd be the richest dude around. But the truth is, it doesn't exist. We kind of have to swallow a different pill. And that's, that pill is essentially, okay, well, if I want to be confident, and again, there are some things that when I do videos, whether they're lives or they're recorded, or they're in coaching programs or whatever, there are some things that I say, and I know I've said them more than once, okay? Sometimes I've said them many, many times. And if you've heard me say something once before, or even twice before, and I'm saying it yet again, it's not that I've got nothing better to say. It's that it's that important, and people are still missing the boat. So that's why there are certain things that bear repeating. In this case, this whole idea of developing prospecting confidence and the things I'm going to say around it is well worth repeating. But then it's important for you to act upon the things that I'm sharing with you. So first of all, I want to say this, and I've said this many times. The business is a confidence game, okay? And we have to develop skills in certain areas in order to feel more confident doing what we do. So if you have no experience, no skills whatsoever in prospecting, you've never done it before in your life, you're probably, A, not going to know what to do. You're probably not going to be very good at it. You're going to be unsure of yourself, and it's going to be awkward and difficult, and it's just uncomfortable. Just as anything is, like the first time somebody does something. But if you, for example, if you do it, and I think these things hanging behind me is a good example, like these guitars. Like if you've never touched a guitar and you put your hands on the guitar and you don't even know how to hold a chord, you're not going to make the guitar sound good at all. But then if you maybe look at a chord sheet and you're like, oh, this one, and this one, and you strum it the first few times, it's not very good because you're not putting good pressure on the strings. You know, it's going to be difficult at first, and then you keep doing the activity, right? This is even before we get into the ideas of any of the other things. You get good by doing. You start to begin to develop confidence by doing. The experiences that you're having, so in other words, you can't just wait until you got all the confidence to go take action. You've got to, in spite of not being good and not really having all the answers, you still have to take action. Fortunately, network marketing as a business model is an earn while you learn kind of business, so we can kind of bumble around and figure it out and still be actually doing the business. It's not like we have to get fully educated like a doctor and get their degree, or a legal, law, have to go get pass the bar and all that stuff before you can practice law. You can earn while you learn in this business. So I would say number one is you can't avoid the activity. You've still got to do the activity in spite of not being good, but then taking advantage of every single opportunity and experience and learn from those experiences. It's like we've heard many times the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So if you're doing something over and over again and you're not getting a result, then we have to just simply do it a little bit differently and see if we can get a different result, right? It makes very simple common sense. So that's one element to developing confidence, actually doing it. In fact, when I produced my very first training program called How to Win in the Game of Prospecting, I actually reviewed and went back through my life at that time and was like, okay, well, how did I go from sweating, stuttering, nervous wreck to one of the top recruiters in every company I built? Well, I identified in my life 5 different things that I did, and I'm not going to cover all of them here, but this is some of the things that I did in terms of developing that confidence. So that's number one, is learning and getting good by learning and doing and having those experiences. Number 2, and this is one of the things that I know, like, I never stop talking about, I never will stop talking about it, is the concept of practice, okay? Like, the guitar, again, as an example. Well, you can sit there and try to play songs. That's fine. You're trying to play a song, and ultimately, if you continue to try to play the song, maybe the song will come to you if you've got the chord progression in front of you. But then if you're practicing the actual chords, I'm going to practice the G, I'm going to practice the C, I'm going to practice the D, I'm going to practice the G again, I'm going to practice the F chord, whatever the chords are, and you continue to practice, it's going to give you greater confidence because you're putting, in this case with the guitar, better pressure on the right strings, which gives it a cleaner sound. You're going to, in network marketing terms, you're going to have practiced, role playing with somebody. And it's like, this is probably the thing for me personally that bothers me the most about network marketers, is they all say that they want to get good, and my question is, okay, cool, well, what are you doing to get good? And most people are doing nothing to get good. It's like, I want you to think about this as well. Think about something you're really, really good at. How did you get good at that thing? Well, the truth is, how you get good at one thing is how you get good at everything. I didn't say how you do one thing is how you do everything, but how you get good at one thing is how you get good at everything, including prospecting. So if I want to be good at prospecting, okay, well, maybe I got to spend some time, multiple times throughout the week, practicing, role-playing, asking the question and having a partner, fire a curveball at me or fire an objection or fire a tough question, and you start to role-play and you build practice. And I think it would be great if our entire profession was required to build practice into trainings and training events, because then what would happen is we'd have a lot more highly skilled, highly confident networkers, because they've taken the time to really work on their craft. They've really focused intentionally on becoming skillful. And when you have higher skills, and you can't deny this, when you have higher skills, you have a greater degree of confidence, right? You have a greater degree of confidence when you're good at something. So that's where confidence comes from, right? If you're good at something, if you're adept at it, if you're skilled at it, if you know how to do it well, you have confidence related to that activity. So number one, you get good by doing. Number two, you get good by practicing. Number three, and this is something I've talked about, and I'll say exactly what I said in How to Win in the Game of Prospecting: qualitative and quantitative self-checks, okay? What does that mean? It sounds all scientific. It's not. A qualitative self-check is when you actually take the time to record a cross-section of your conversations, whether it's a phone conversation or Facebook Messenger chat or text message thread back and forth, and then you review it, or even better yet, you have a pro review it, somebody that's more highly skilled than you. They can listen to your call, listen to the conversation, review the text thread, review the Facebook Messenger chat, and go, look, see where that you asked this question, you said this, and notice how the prospect went cold. If I in the future, I would do this instead. And you can be given tips and suggestions on how to make those improvements. It goes down to the fundamentals of teaching. And I'm not going to go into the depth of it, but if we just go bare bones on teaching, there's a concept called tell, show, try, do. If I'm going to teach you something, I'm going to tell you about it and what we do. I'm going to then show it to you. I'm going to demonstrate to you. Okay, now you give it a try. And as you're giving it a try, I'm giving you tips and feedback and having you make little shifts and changes. Therefore, then you can go do. Same simple concept here. Prospecting is the number one activity that directly leads to revenue. I've said that probably literally a bazillion times over the years of being involved in network marketing, but it's absolutely true. It's the one thing that makes you money. And so you want to be good at it, and you want to be confident, you want to be competent at it. So you do the activity, you learn by doing, you learn by practicing. Qualitative self-check is the reviewing of previous conversations, the quality of the conversation. That's where the term qualitative comes in. Quantitative self-checks are this. You need to be real with yourself, honest with yourself. What kind of numbers are you really putting on the table? How many people did you prospect today, this week, this month? Because that's a telltale sign. That's great direct feedback for you as to how active or inactive you actually are in your business. Because the truth is, a lot of people go, oh, I'm not getting results in my business. And then it's like, dude, well, how many people have you prospected in the last month? And he's like, 3. Well, you're wondering why your business isn't working. You literally talked to 3 people in an entire month, which nobody here listening to me on audio or video is going to say that's a big number. So now you get the feedback that tells you I'm not really even doing the necessary numbers that are going to help me make those improvements. You're not having enough experience. You're actually tracking your numbers. That's the quantitative side of this thing. So again, I want you to do a couple of things from this video or this audio if you're on my podcast. I want you to think about how many are you practicing? Are you taking the opportunity to learn from your experiences? And then, like the phrase that another phrase that I've used for years, repeat what works, delete what doesn't. Repeat what works, delete what doesn't. If it works, you do it again and again and again. If it doesn't work, okay, well, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to do it differently so I can get a different result. So if I make little small changes, okay, now I'm getting a better result. Okay, I'm going to repeat that because that is working for me, but what I was doing before wasn't working for me. This is not rocket science, you guys. But it takes work, it takes time, it takes patience, and it's important because prospecting confidence, or lack thereof, is the thing that stops most people from even moving. They don't even move. They're like stuck in not moving, and they never build a business because they're so unsure of themselves, and they've never taken the time to work on themselves and really get, passionate about actually developing the skill sets and developing the know-how on how to go do what we do in this business. And you find that most people that are at the very, very, very pinnacle of whatever game that they're in, they have and the word that they will use, and you'll hear this, they became obsessed with getting good. They became absolutely obsessed. Like my kid right before doing this video is run out, Dad, I'm going to skate. That kid, a year ago could barely stand on a skateboard. He is ripping on a skateboard. He is obsessed with being great on a skateboard. The tricks he's doing, the stuff he's doing on a skateboard now is insane. He's on a skateboard every day, all day long, skating, practicing tricks. He's doing videos, looking at, okay, what could I have done differently with my feet? Same thing. That's how to get good at skateboarding. In this case, we're talking about how to get good and how to develop your prospecting confidence. And you also get good through time. But you have to do through time, you have to practice through time, you have to self-check through time, you have to be keenly aware of, again, like, what are you doing? You can't blindly just go after it, not really care what the result or the lack of result is. You have to really pay attention, pay attention to what's really working for you. And if it's really working, you do that again. And if you're paying attention, you're like, man, every time I do this, the prospect hangs up on me or they go cold on me. Well, then you don't do that again. So that requires us paying attention so that we can repeat the things that do work, delete the things that don't work. And the last thing I'll say, and this is something I've done, and this is for somebody who really wants, I want to make the improvements, okay? I already kind of mentioned it, but when you can find somebody who's way better than you, okay? And you can hire a coach, or even if you're not even have to hire them, you have somebody that's way better than you that can give you immediate feedback. Then you have an expert looking at what you're doing. They have a totally different set of eyeballs. Quick example. The other day I'm on the golf course. I'm playing with a guy who's like a +2 handicap. The guy's good. He shoots under par all the time. I was struggling with my swing, and he's like, we have this deal where on hole number 9, he's going to give me like my tip of the day, right? So we get to the 9th hole, and I'm like, dude, what are you seeing in my swing? And he's like, man, he goes, you're taking it too far inside, and it's like your club's getting stuck back here. He goes, I want you to think about like almost taking the club outside on your backswing. And he goes, it's gonna feel like you're taking it way outside, but the truth is you're taking it more straight back. It's like what you're thinking you're doing is not what you're actually doing. So I'm thinking like, and literally on the 9th tee box, I'm thinking I'm taking the club way outside, like I'm pulling back and the club's going way out in front of me. It didn't. He was right behind me when he was watching it, and I nutted a drive right down the middle of the fairway without this little snappy hook that I was doing. And the crazy thing is, did I beat the guy? I beat the guy on the back 9. I made a triple bogey because I screwed up on the 18th hole, but I was like 2 over par through the back 9, and it was that one little change. One little change. This guy's looking at me, and he just said, make it feel like you're taking it outside. And I wasn't getting stuck back here where I had to like try to get. And I don't want to get too crazy on the golf swing analogy, but having somebody who's way better than you analyze what you're doing. Like one of my favorite things on the coaching side of my business is having somebody who's stuck with prospecting. They're struggling with it, and they're like, dude, can you listen to some of my calls? Can you review some of the conversations that I'm having? Because I've got a totally different set of eyeballs. I've got a 35+ year, set of eyeballs that are looking at, what you're doing, and I can see things that you're never going to see for yourself, okay? Whether it's a paid coaching arrangement or you have an expert who's got way more experience and they're willing to volunteer their time and help you, an expert set of eyeballs can be just the ticket for you to make these little tiny modifications that you're thinking, I'm doing this right, but maybe you're really not. And maybe because your eyes, your experience, it's a more novice experience than the person looking at you, that can be the biggest difference maker. And real quickly, back to the golf analogy, I'm not an inexperienced golfer. I've played golf since I was 22, but there are times where I know what to do, but the actual application of doing what I need to do, I just can't do it. But then I get a different set of eyeballs that can see things because I think I'm doing it right, but I'm really not doing it right, and I'm trying to fix it, and I can't fix it on my own. That's always where a golf coach will come in handy because they can see things that I think I'm doing right, but I'm completely doing wrong. Same thing will be for you in terms of your prospecting and recruiting efforts. So whatever you've got to do, I would make it an absolute priority to do everything that you can, and by the way, you hold the keys to the rein, you have the reins there, everything that you can to improve your prospecting skills, because when your skills are high, your confidence is going to be high, and you'll never avoid this key revenue producing activity ever again. All right, so that's it for today. If you're on my podcast, I appreciate you guys. If you're on my YouTube channel, love my YouTubers as well. The rest of the details and other resources for you to achieve success in network marketing are right here at toddfalcone.com. And this particular episode is toddfalcone.com /episode 195. We'll see you next time.